The information provided in this podcast is educational and not intended to diagnose or treat medical conditions.
Dr. Doni Wilson struggled for decades to solve her numerous health issues and heal her body. But with focused determination, she healed herself. And in doing so, she discovered the Dr. Doni Stress Recovery Protocol. On this show, you're going to hear from doctors, nutritionists, and experts, along with Dr. Doni, who will give practical advice and wisdom to help heal your body. This is how humans heal.
Hello, it's Dr. Doni, and I'm excited to be getting to talk with you all on New Year's Eve. Oh my gosh, I can't believe, right, that it's December 31st and it's going to be 2021. I love it. I don't know if you've seen this, meme or joke about being, having hindsight, right? We always say hindsight is 2020, and now really is the year 2020 is behind us. And so I think we're all kind of feeling that New Year's spirit, maybe even more than some other years. And at the same time, we have to be realistic that it's not like all the stresses of 2020 are going to disappear overnight, right? It's not going to be a magic disappearance of the various stresses. But I think if a lot of you who are listening are like me, and what I've heard from other people is that we've started to get more of an awareness and appreciation for what we've learned in 2020 about ourselves, about resiliency, about prioritizing our lives, our health, ourselves, our families. And so when I think of, a classic idea of a New Year's resolution, and maybe some of you have that feeling too, that feeling of like, hey, it's a new year. We have this new chance to envision what we're hoping to experience in 2021 and to learn, right? It's this being curious and not judgmental. That's the thing, is so much of the time this judgment will slip in on us, whether it's judgment of ourselves or judgment of others or judgment of what happened or didn't happen. And that judgmental part of us is what's also could be called the conditioned self. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. Hi, by the way, thank you for saying hi, and thanks for saying Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of you. I'm again so excited for all of us to have that spirit of the new year, giving us that opportunity to, yes, look back, look at what we've learned, and then be intentional in this moment about what 2021 can include and what can happen in the year to come. And so again, I want to first just bring our awareness to our authentic self, not the conditioned self, because the conditioned self is going to be very likely to be having negative self-talk, right? Or perfectionism or judgment of ourselves, or feeling negative about what happened or didn't happen. So maybe you can relate to some of that. When the conditioned self is more what's going on, then you're going to be more likely to experience these more judgmental, negative thoughts. Whereas when you can be more in your authentic self, then you're more likely to be looking at it with curiosity and learning and opportunities and intentions and visioning. So when you're going about, whether you call it a resolution or you call it some people call it like a dream board or a vision board, or even just your list of priorities, maybe you just have some goals. So they can be called a lot of different things, but it's really this, what is using this new year as a New Year's Eve as an opportunity to look within and to become intentional about what we'd like to see in our lives going forward. Because we do know that when we give those clear messages to our brain will help us to create that for us in the future. So it's actually not, it's something we can look at in science that shows us that it's possible to have intention, have an influence into your future. Even if even from a perspective of goal setting or prayer, it's all about the more we can become clear about what our needs and wants and desires are, then the more likely they will happen. And so, again, the first step is let's kind of maybe even together kind of like check in with yourself and see, hey, are you feeling in that state of self-love, self-appreciation? And I was thinking, why don't we, whether you have a pen and paper or you can type it or you can just think it in your mind, to start by thinking of things that you feel grateful for, first of all. So maybe just jot down a list of a couple things that you feel grateful for, whether it's in this moment, today, maybe it's related to the past year. What do you feel grateful for? What do you feel appreciation for? And it could be simple things, whatever comes to mind. If it's things you appreciate about yourself, that's another good way to get more into this authentic self, is to, what are things you appreciate about yourself today or over the past year? And what are things that you learned? And even what were some of your successes? What were things that went well for you over the past year? And just jot a few things down, because this starts to bring us into a place where we can be an authentic self, but also it kind of allows us to remember and kind of get into that place of, okay, where am I now, right? Where am I after the things that I feel grateful for, the things that I've learned, the things that were successful? Just jot them down. And whether you have time right now, or maybe this just inspires you to do it later, this is something you can do on New Year's Eve. It's just take as much time as you need to just journal or make a list, or, I sometimes like those big Post-its so I can write it big on the wall. But, make for yourself this sort of check-in list. What are you feeling appreciative for? And it can help when you're doing this to just take a few minutes to take deep breaths, or meditate, or just practice some form of mindfulness where it really helps you become centered and focused on yourself and your experience. And again, what you feel appreciation for and appreciation for yourself. Because it's when we're in that state, that authentic state of self-compassion and awareness, that you can really get in touch with what you'd like to vision for the future. And so from there, you can start to journal about what are your priorities? What do you value most? Is it family? Is it yourself? Is it your health? Is it your, is it the home you're living in? You start to be able to kind of look at what motivates you. What is it that is your purpose each day? Sort of on this big picture level, what really motivates you and gives you that sense of purpose and that sense of bringing you forward. And as you do that, I think, a lot of you may find that your health comes higher up on the list, sometimes more than we realize. Like sometimes we take our health for granted. We think, okay, sometimes it's like, it seems like, certain things are a priority. But when you really get in your authentic self and you really think about what matters most to you, you may find that your health and well-being is higher on the list than it's really getting attention for on a daily basis. And so just notice that. I mean, it may or may not be. But the thing is that a lot of times we realize that in order to do what we want to do for the people we want to do it for and with the people we want to do it with, in order to be able to do that, we need our health, right? We need to be able to have energy and motivation and creativity and wellness enough to be able to do the things we really want to do with the people we want to do it with and the people we want to do it for. And so health kind of rises up on the priority list for that reason. And so then you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, if health is important in order for me to do the other things I want to do, then how do I feel about my health? And so maybe then journal about that. How do you feel about your health at this point in time? Maybe you feel your health is doing great. Maybe you feel like you've been making already some changes. Maybe you've been eating in a way that you feel happy with and getting enough sleep and exercising and taking good care of yourself. So maybe your vision for 2021 is to continue that, because maybe you're experiencing the benefits of all of that and you want to make sure it keeps going, because it's when we continue to be able to take care of ourselves, then we can become more and more resilient to stresses we're exposed to. Maybe there's some parts of it that you want to shift and change. Again, with non-judgment, it's important that you're doing this with a sense of self-love and worth and compassion, not judgment. So if you find yourself criticizing yourself, then stop and let that go and bring yourself back to a sense of it's okay. Whatever happened, happened. And now in this moment, you get to choose something new. And so with that, then you can move, make choices going forward. And you might decide, hey, I've been wanting to make these diet changes. Whether for you, they might be big diet changes, or for another person, it might be small diet changes. Or perhaps it's that you've been, with everything going on in 2020, maybe you've not been exercising. I hear that from a lot of people. And so maybe one of your visions or goals is to be able to find new ways to get movement and exercise on a regular basis. And that becomes more the priority, but it really falls under improving your health. It could be that you want to come to this training every week on Thursday. It could be that you want to learn how to meditate and practice that. Or maybe you want to learn biofeedback or other kinds of stress relieving activities that you can implement on a daily basis, because I really believe it's important to try different activities and see what really resonates and works well for you.
Something a lot of people don't know is that too much stress can actually create an abundance of health problems like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, anxiety, migraines, insomnia, even fertility issues. This is because high stress puts your adrenal glands on overload. They release cortisol and adrenaline, which controls your digestion, hormones, immune system, energy, focus, and even your emotional response. So how can you beat stress when you don't know where to start? That's why we have a free 7-day stress reset program. It's designed to help support weight loss, digestive healing, and hormone balancing. It includes support for integrating self-care, daily tips come to you by email and video, gluten-free, dairy-free meal plans, as well as grocery shopping lists, journal pages, and more. This free program will help you beat stress and put you on the path to wholeness in your body. Get your plan now for free at drdoni.com.
So you might decide, I've really been wanting to take a meditation course, or maybe you've been wanting to take a painting or dancing class, or, think of what are some things that your authentic self, have really been wanting and thinking you would enjoy, but maybe you haven't had the time or chance to do that. This is the perfect opportunity to identify it and put it on your list. Because then once we identify it, it becomes clear and we even write it down and we put it up in front of us. Again, our brains are working to find what it is we tell our brains we want to find. So if we think, I want to find a dance class, your brain is going to start finding a dance class for you. And so sometimes that's a little scary, actually, because if you get clear about something, sometimes we feel hesitant, like, oh my gosh, that I want that, but I feel a little afraid what that might mean or how that's going to happen or if I deserve that. So you might actually notice this is when the conditioned self starts jumping in again and trying to put on the brakes, so to speak. So just notice that too. You can journal a little bit more about that. What is it that's coming up as a fear or a stopping point? And you can journal more about what that could be related to and maybe work through and heal whatever that is that's slowing you down and stopping you from moving forward with that thing that you clearly have been wanting to do. And then you may just take any small step, like you might then identify, okay, if I really want to say start exercising again, or I really want to make a diet change, then you want to identify, okay, what am I going to do next to help make that happen? We call these sometimes with strategy sessions or goal setting, we call these the tasks that fall underneath the goal. So you might identify, so you want to have your goal be as specific and clear as you can, because you want it to be something that you can really, it's clear in your mind and it's clear when you've achieved it. And then you want to identify these tasks that would be the little small steps in the process of getting there. So it might be you're going to search online for online exercise opportunities, or you're going to call a friend and ask what they've been doing, or you're going to, so you identify, here's the little steps I'm going to take to make it more likely that I'm going to be successful with achieving this goal that I identified. And so this is, really bringing goal setting to your visioning for the new year, and these are things you can, some people like to even type it up, or you can write it out, or you can share it verbally with other people you're with and in your family, because then you can also do this with your kids. I think it's such a great way for kids to really get clear. They might actually share something with you didn't realize, something that they had an interest in, or that they've been afraid of, or, that they've been wanting, but they didn't know how to get there. So it can be a really nice activity, with your family, say on New Year's Eve. Again, there's also the idea where you say pull out magazines and you can cut out pictures of the things that are on your goal list. And I did this once. I went to a New Year's retreat in New Mexico. And part of it was first, a lot of different activities for getting in touch with authentic self. In fact, there was some Native American ceremonies that we did, as well as some like spa treatments, and they actually had a puppy room. So it was spending time with puppies. So any of these things that just really help you kind of just get into your joy and your fun and your creativity and your recentering, and you're not distracted with all the day-to-day stuff. And so you can do those kind of fun activities. So maybe tonight, if you're home, you can always watch a movie that makes you laugh. You can play music, you can dance, you can call friends. There's so many things you can do to just really enjoy the moment. And then maybe, get out magazines where you can get pictures, or you can always print pictures from the internet and print them and cut them out, and you could stick them onto a board. Or, if you're really feeling creative and you want to do it with kids anyway, that could be really fun, because the kids they could draw pictures, they could paint. There's so many possible ways that you could make this into kind of an art project. And at that retreat that I went to, we did do that. We did like a collage, and we also did painting. And it was a matter of really putting your vision and your goals into a visual. I'm very visual. I don't know how many of you learn as more visual or auditory, but it helps to kind of know that about yourself. If you know that you're visual, then it may help even more to make it into a visual vision board. Or those of you who may not be as visual, then maybe for you, it's more about talking about it, or you may want to record yourself talking about it or a video and really do the auditory way of really solidifying it for yourself. And you can also, of course, do meditations or other types of ceremonies or prayer around it so that you really give it this clear attention. And again, it doesn't have to be a big long list. It could be one thing that you want to prioritize. It might be health, and then it might have 4 points under that. Maybe it's underneath health. There might be some things you want to change about your diet, and things about your exercise, and things about your environment, your home environment. Maybe you want to take some steps to clean up some of the maybe potential toxin exposures in your home environment. So these are things where they can start to fall into this framework. And then again, if you want to take it to the next level, then you identify what are some of the initial steps you would take. You don't have to go into action immediately, right? You just know, okay, these are the steps I'm going to take starting tomorrow or in the next day. So you might just then come up with, okay, here's some of the things that I might start with, and know that you can add to this list. It's not like it has to be perfect. None of this has to be perfect. You can just start with something, and then you can, as time goes on, you might go, oh, because now your mind and your body and your family and your world is all going to kind of align around this. And you might start learning things day by day where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this. And so it starts to blossom from there, and you start to learn as you go what you would like to create. So, and it might be, again, I'm using health as an example because that's what I think about a lot. But it might not be just health. There might be other things that are, priority for you. But the thing is under health, there's a lot. There's, learning about yourself. There's everything from mental health and physical health to, so it might be, there's a lot of places, a lot of directions you could go under health. And of course, again, health is so important for being able to do most anything else we want to do. Let's see. So I'm not sure if you guys have any questions for me or ideas, but I can answer them as well if you post them later. And that might all of this doesn't have to have any cost. I mean, that's, I think, one thing for sure we've learned from 2020 is that there's a lot we can do that's along the lines of health and stress recovery that you can do from home, no additional cost. It really then comes down to just our effort, our own choice to focus our brain in that way. So it's just because otherwise, right, we could be doing other stuff. But really, like, when you think about it, even if, say, you're, let's say busy doing your laundry, even doing the laundry falls under some type of activity for yourself. And so you start to realize that we might as well take a few minutes and just get centered and really, vision for yourself. What is it that you want to be focusing on? And this way you can use it as a kind of a guide or a roadmap each day. You might then refer to it when you wake up. You could come up with like a little catchphrase for yourself. Sometimes that helps, or a little affirmation. Like you might, as you go through this process of identifying your values and your goals, you might then kind of come up with almost like a little mission statement. And this mission statement can be something that you then remind yourself of when you wake up in the morning. Maybe it's a Post-it note on your wall or your mirror. And because when you have that kind of mission statement, it can quickly remind you of your vision and your goals. And so you don't have to necessarily read through the whole list every day. You would just have your quick mission statement or your kind of mantra or affirmation that guides you and gets you right on that path again each day. And you can check in on it along the way. A lot of times, you can even think of it as, what are things you want to do in line with your vision each day or each week or each month or each 3 months. And so you can, become, again, more intentional about what you're doing each day based on this. So it actually can be quite exciting, and potentially, like, because I've done, I don't know if you know this about me, but I've run nonprofit organizations for many years. And so as part of the not-for-profit organizations, we would each year do a strategy session like this. We would re-look at our mission and our main goals and our tasks, and we would also then design our budget for the year in line with that. So you can do the same thing. You can think of, hey, if these are my goals, what is my budget? And you can then even cross it over to your budget and identifying, hey, if I'm going to be spending money on any of these activities, let's say exercise equipment or an exercise class, now it becomes part of your daily, weekly, monthly, annual budget, so that you're not questioning yourself. It's already automatically in your plan and your spending plan. And so in some ways, I think we can learn from businesses and, say, not-for-profits in that way, that if we think of ourselves in that way, where we're committed to our purpose, so much so that we have kind of a goal prioritization and we have a budget for that, it makes it much more likely it's going to happen, right? Because now not only is your mind focused on what you want to create, but you have the funding for it. You have the time. You could also think about your time. How much time is it going to take you? And look at your calendar and put it in the calendar. Like maybe your calendar, your one of your goals might be you want to have a staycation or a vacation. Maybe it's once a month. You want to take 3 days off or 5 days off. So now that was in your vision, and now you're going to look at your budget and see what needs to happen to make that happen. And then you're going to put it in your calendar. You're going to go, okay, let me pick the dates. These are the dates. I'm going to have my 5 days off every once a month or once every 3 months, whatever it is. So it becomes a reality because you've prioritized it and you've really gotten clear that was something you wanted to have happen. Because otherwise, of course, these things might happen or we might decide at the last minute. But it's also much less likely it's going to happen if we don't think it through and plan it out ahead of time. So that's where I think a New Year's resolution or New Year's vision can really be amazing in the moment, because it can feel very inspiring in the moment, but it can also then allow us to take that forward into the days and the year ahead of us. Anyway, so I hope that's helpful for you all. Let's see. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, you're going to do your vision board today. I love it. Okay, I'm glad. If you can, I'll post this video. So if you want to re-listen to give you ideas. I'm one of my goals that I'm identifying is my goal is to create at least a week where we can do like this training that I've been doing every Thursday, where we can do a training every day for a week. And I did that a few months ago, but one of my goals I want to share with you all is that I'm wanting to do that in January. So I'm just putting that into place, as I've been starting to do my visioning on New Year's Eve. I'm thinking of, okay, let's do a live stress recovery training every day for a week. And I'm thinking that's going to be starting on January 11th. So if you want to put that on your calendar, if you're loving these trainings and talking things through, I would love for you to join me. And if you have any specific topics you'd like me to go into more depth, please let me know, because I'm going to be planning out each day for a live stress reset starting January 11th. And I'll make sure you guys, well, if you're listening to this training, then you're going to be able to find me. But if you are, I'll put notes about that. So if you know anyone who would like to join, you can share it with them. And we'll do more in-depth each day training on how to be more in touch with your authentic self, process some of that conditioned self out of the way so that you can be really clear and coming from that place of, again, self-love and self-compassion, so that you can really authentically choose these things you value and that are priorities for you, and be able to move forward, just more smoothly in reaching those goals. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun to be here and thinking about all of this with you. I would love to just even get to spend the whole evening doing some of these things I've just mentioned with all of you, but I'm going to just be imagining you, taking this and run with it. Again, you can do this by yourself. You can do this with your family, with your kids. You can do this on Zoom with other people, so you don't actually have to be in person, because, you might as well, right? You might as well. You could, sit and, again, do the things you usually do. Enjoy your yummy food. Enjoy something that feels relaxing and joyful to you. And then get into that place of like, what am I really inspired about for the new year? And what do I appreciate and what have I learned from the prior year that's going to help me clarify what I want in the coming year? All right. Well, thanks for joining me, and Happy New Year, everyone. And I look forward to talking with you next week. Take care.
Thanks for listening to How Humans Heal. If you liked this episode, leave a rating and a review. And for more resources, visit drdoni.com.